Yo, DD here, Toolens, and as you can see, this is F1 2013 we're playing here today. And this video is just going to be another one of those videos where people seem to enjoy, where I just talk over just videos and just doing gameplay and just talking over it. This is just going to be going through the previous F1 games, obviously with F1 2015 coming out, a lot of hype around that game, something I'm really looking forward to. It actually comes out a month tomorrow, so not long to wait, and I really can't wait to play it because I'm very bored of the games. I'm pretty much taking a massive break from just playing anything seriously. I'm just watching Netflix at the moment, that's pretty much it. But as you can see with this gameplay here, we're just jumping in sprint mode, which is what I first did when I played F1 games. That's all I did, just jump in sprint mode. And we're at Spa here today, a track I absolutely love, which I usually say for quite a lot of the tracks, but this track I definitely do love. But going on with the video itself, I just want to talk about going through the previous F1 games, what games you think were the best. I'm not going to say hands down which game is the best. I'm just going to say my opinion. I know people have different opinions to me, and I'm interested in hearing what you guys think as well. What you thought the best F1 game is, what you think the worst F1 game is. What do you think about F1 2015? Do you think it's going to be a good game, or do you think it's going to be, in my opinion, like Project Cars, a bit of a letdown, gathering the hype around it? As they absolutely just dominate this guy around the outside, just got half in the grass, and these guys actually been pretty clean, so fair play to them there. But going back to the video itself, starting off with 2011, because I didn't actually play 2010. I actually think I played it probably twice in my life, and that's it. But going 2011, that's when I first played a real F1 game on the console. I thought that game was a lot of fun, to be honest, even though the wheel had a huge advantage. And at the time I was quite naive. I used to think, oh, these people are absolutely insane at the game, and how the hell were they doing this? So I used to message all the wheel users who are really good and just say, oh, how the hell are you doing these times? And I just thought it was pretty much just down to them just being absolute gods at the game. But turns out the wheel was pretty OP in that game. Very OP. The most OP game ever for a wheel was in that game. But I really enjoyed the racing. When I first got into league racing in that game, it was just a lot of fun. It was quite challenging, the game. Braking was difficult, traction was pretty difficult. The handling was just, you really had to push. I just really enjoyed racing. Online connectivity, well, for me, I know for overseas players it was a bit difficult with lag, but for me at the time I actually had a good connection because I actually used to play that at university on that game, so had a pretty good connection there. But I had really good races, and that's what really really made me stick with F1 games, playing that game. So I wouldn't really change too much about, obviously, the pad and wheel, but I wasn't really taking it that serious at that time. So that game was pretty good for me. Moving on to 2012, that's where I first started to get really serious, like proper serious, into league racing. And this game, I'm going to say it was my most enjoyable game that I've played in an F1 game, because the racing, the 100% league racing with the fuel, having 100% fuel in that game in a league race or on actual online settings was so difficult. It was so challenging. As you can see there as well, this game's a little bit challenging as well, which I'll get onto it, but I'm not really driving too well in this game compared to mine. You may have noticed, this is probably the first time I've jumped on this in quite a while, so literally have not touched a console or an Xbox 360 for about 2 weeks now, pretty much playing it wise. But going back to F1 2012, yeah, I just thought it was probably the most challenging game in terms of traction. Braking was absolutely insane. Trail braking was, you literally had to absolutely master it to be good at that game. And the battling was incredible. Pad and wheel was, I still think the wheel was quicker, but it was about 3 or 4 tenths difference or something. Give it that, give or take, depends what track, but overall it was a pretty solid game. This game as well, 2013, I felt was another solid game. I know a lot of people thought towards the end of the game it was pretty crap, but if you compare it to F1 2014, I think a lot of people would agree with me in saying that they missed this game quite a bit, because for me the handling on this game was probably the best handling I've experienced on an F1 game on the console. Just, it feels challenging, like with 2012. The only thing downside about 2012 was just the swaying on the straight, which was really unnatural, not realistic. I know these games aren't meant to be realistic, but it really was just not necessary. But on this game, F1 2013, the skill gap was pretty big. You can't just be like a 2014, in my opinion. The skill gap in 2014 was non-existent. I mean, you could be, in my opinion, quite an average driver, but as long as you go in first gear, get on the traction, or if you're on the pads especially, you could get away with a lot, and it really wouldn't show massively, especially in qualifying, who was really the most skilled driver, in my opinion. Over the course of a race, though, in consistency wise, you have to be so consistent in that game because everyone was so close, and the more consistent you were, that's where the stronger players turned out in the races. But yeah, this game was good, but I would still say it was probably behind 2012. So at the moment it's 2012, 2013, 2011, and 2014. I don't really have to say too much about it, even though it was probably my fastest game in terms of, or myself personally against other people. It's probably the game I enjoyed the least because it was just really boring, just wasn't challenging, trail braking just wasn't existent, traction was built in, and they just didn't really do anything different with the game, and it was pretty boring. But I'm really looking forward to F1 2015. Hopefully it brings something new, a new dimension to it. I just really want to just hear what you guys think of the game, what you think about each game, what you thought was your favourite. So for me, it's 2012, 2013, 2011, and 2014. 2010, like I said, I haven't really played, so that's something you guys can tell me. But as I said before, excited for next month. Should be really good. Hopefully get some good gameplay for you, and just let me know what you think of the games. And see you next time. Cheers.